Your life doesn't have to make sense to me, and my life doesn't have to make sense to you. I was thinking about how, like, if I did what other people did or do, I would have never stopped self harming myself. Like, I used to self harm and cut myself and depression, anxiety, and all this extra shit. But I would have never beat my mental health issues if I was doing the same behavior and same habits that were causing the mental health problems. Like, what causes a lot of people's, well, in my opinion, what caused my mental health issues was the fact that I was living a life that I wouldn't even live. Like, I feel like it has a lot to do with self-awareness, and like a lot of people genuinely don't know who they are, which is fine. Like, just fucking 8 years ago, I had no fucking clue who the hell I was. I thought I was just some black thug dude. Like, that's who I was. But but it's like a lot of people don't go on the journey of self, like, who are they? Who am I? Like, I started asking myself that question. Who am I? And once you figure out who you are, you can then figure out how you would live. Because a lot of people are just living the way that their parents would live because that's how they were taught to live. But maybe the way your parents live is not the way that sets your soul on fire. Like, I feel like we should all be trying to strive for the life that sets our soul on fire. Like, the thing that makes us feel alive. Like, and you don't need money to feel alive. Like, because a lot of people, haven't gone on that journey within, they try to find it without, like, outside. So, like, by maybe getting exterior things, getting a beautiful car, a giant house, this and that, whatever, because they want to feel like, okay, well, they own this house, and they did this, and they did that. But who are you trying to show that you did this for? Like, a lot of people want to get... Now, there's two types of ways you can look at this. There's people that have been interested in cars since they were kids, and, like, so had toy cars and shit. So then when they get older, they're like, yo, I want the real version of this shit. That's dope. That's awesome. But then there's people that have no interest in cars whatsoever, but they get the car because they want other people to see that, look at the car I have. That's an internal problem. Like, the person is not secure within themselves. So it's like they need the outside validation to feel like they're doing something right, or to feel like they did something that mattered, or to feel like, because a lot of rich people, like, will be like, well, I got rich, so I did something that mattered. And it's like, okay, that's great. You did, but did it matter to you? Because that's all that matters. Like, because, like, yeah, people can... So, like, some people would maybe think that the person that runs the company, like, let's say there's a construction company. The person that runs the construction company, like the CEO of that company, has workers that he hires for his company, and those workers are usually the ones that build, like, the buildings and stuff. So if you need a building made, like, the workers would then, like, build the buildings, but those workers are getting paid because somebody created the company to be able to then have people call for them to build buildings. Like, what I'm trying to say is, the people that are building the building and the person who built the company are at equal value. They are equally contributing to reality. Because if the guy never created the business, the people would have never built the building, because some professional company is not going to call you personally to have you build, a thing for them, like a hotel or something for them. they're going to call a company, but somebody has to make that company, and to make a company is very complicated. So I was thinking about how, like, as long as the people building the building, like, just are happy with their life, like, that's their thing. Like, in their head, they might be thinking, I don't ever want to own a construction company. I'm down to just keep doing this or whatever, because that's what they do. If they enjoy their life, then who the fuck are we to say that they should be wanting more? Like, or just like the person who owns the construction company, maybe he's not building the buildings, but maybe he's building the blueprints. Maybe he's helping with some other shit. Maybe he's helping with, like, what, there's other things that, whatever, he's putting the team together, he's doing all these different things, and that's his thing. But what he's doing is no less of value, because that's most likely what is most valuable to him. Like, that's what he enjoys doing. Like, what sets his soul on fire. So, I think this is about what sets your soul on fire. But you'll never know what sets your soul on fire if you don't know you. Like, getting to know ourselves is very important, because, like, I don't know, in that situation, it's very good to know yourself. Because if you don't know yourself, then the person who's building the building is just going to feel like shit, and then feel envious and jealous and angry towards the boss, because the boss lives a different life than that person does. But if you wanted it, you could have it too. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but before I started a business, like, I didn't know anything about business. No one in my family ever did business, or nothing about business, really. I mean, my dad, but, like, he didn't teach me anything, so, like, I didn't know anything about business. But I worked at this pizza place. And I worked at this pizza place for 4 years. And, like, I literally learned so much from the owner. The owner, not the manager of the pizza place, but the owner of the pizza place. He didn't even know how to make any of the pizzas. Like, if we asked him to make a pizza, he didn't know how to do it. But he didn't need to know how to do it. He owns many businesses. So, like, he just has to keep track of the business side of things with the businesses, keep in contact with the managers, and figure out, like, and the managers are the ones that have to know what to do in the store. But the owner is a different thing. Like, he was the CEO of the actual company, but he wasn't just the CEO of that one company. He was CEO of many companies, but he was co-CEO. Like, I learned a lot from him back when I was working at this pizza place, because I wanted to learn about business, but I had no place to learn about business, so I was just asking questions or whatever. Found out, like, he would own, like, 51% of the company, and his sister would own 49%, or, like, whatever, and he liked to do it that way. But some companies that he didn't want to be fully involved with as much, he would only own 49% of the company, and he would have the other person own 51%. So then they would have the majority, and then they would basically have to look over that business more. But to him, that's fulfilling to him. Because I think, no, that's the word. Fulfillment. Fulfillment. Like, what makes you feel fulfilled? Like, you can have a job that fills your pockets and gets you rich, that's great, but if you don't do something that makes you feel fulfilled, eventually you're going to feel empty, no matter how rich you are. So, like, I think it's about just finding something that fulfills your soul. You know, I've been making music since I was a kid, and, like, I found ways where I could sell beats and make $200 from selling a beat, and it's like, I'm not making millions from selling a beat, but I don't need to make millions. I just need to... Sorry, I got interrupted. I think I said, so I had to pause it, but I think I said, something about, like, I don't need to make millions from my music necessarily. I just need to be able to pay my bills, or maybe be able to save a little money so I can relaunch my business, my herbal company, or maybe be able to save a little bit so I can maybe just buy some new shoes or a new shirt or whatever, or say, like, I feel like, because, like, a lot of people have it in their mind where it's like, they think that they have to either do just the normal life, which is fine if that sets your soul on fire. But, like, some people think that they have to do the normal thing, get a 9 to 5, and, like they're not allowed to make music because they feel like if they're not making millions from it, then it was a waste of time. But if you're making music and you're making, even if you're only making $500 every 2 months off of it, that's $250 a month off of making music. You make music. Most people do it for fun. It's what they actually love to do. It's what they enjoy. So, like, I don't give a fuck if you made $20 off of it. You better be proud of your fucking self for that $20 from doing something you love to do. Like, people are way too hard on themselves. They're like, if we'll work a minimum wage job and do something we hate for $250, a week, whatever. But then it's like, okay, a lot of people don't put into what, like, fulfills their soul, because they're like, well, it won't make enough money. But that's only because our society that we live in today makes us feel like we're wasting our life if we're not doing the thing that makes the most money. If we're not doing the thing that society wants us to do, they make us feel like we're just useless, that we're doing nothing. And it's like, I don't like to judge people, right? So, like, whatever. But when somebody, like, judges someone based off of the way they live, it's like, well, we can all judge you based off the way you live, too. Like, because everyone's life is different, everybody is different, and what makes that person happy might not make you happy. What makes you happy might not make that person happy. And we have to understand that. Like, we have to get to a point where it's like, the number one in a business, like, there's, like, the CEO, then there's a number 2, there's a number 4, there's a number whatever. And I heard Gary Vaynerchuk say this a while ago. He said, the number 4 at Facebook made more money than the number 1 at NoBook, or something like that. Meaning, like, the person who tried to make a social media company, but it failed, but he wanted to be the number 1 guy. He wanted to be the CEO, so he wanted to be the guy. So, like, that, so he started this company, but it failed. The person that just decided to, like, get a job at Facebook or get a job at these places or whatever, and yeah, they might just be an employee at this job, but they're making more money and possibly just doing what they love to do. And, like, there's this weird thing where, what is life? Like, what is worth doing in life? Like, if I laid out what I like to do with my life and I forced you to live that way, you would end up miserable. Like, miserable. Like, just like if you forced me to live your life. Even, like, if the things, let's say you got rich as fuck and you were able to create the next year to be your dream year. Your, like, dream year, the best year you could ever imagine. If you then made me come along with you, I would be miserable. Because it's not my dream, it's yours. And this is why it's like, we just kind of got to figure out ourselves. We figure out ourselves, and then we're able to work on ourselves, and then we're able to work on our life. But if you didn't work on yourself, like, then you might just put the generic life together. Like, because, like, people will be like, well, I got to build my life. What does that mean? Does that mean that you have to get a car? Does that mean that you have to buy a house? Does that mean that you have to whatever? Like, and where did you get that idea from? Like, is that really your idea? Or is it an idea that was implanted? Is it what other people want? Is it what other people want for you? Because I've had that situation happen where it's like, a lot of people are like, you should be doing this and you should be doing that because of this and like and whatever. And I'm like, you know, my one dude was trying to rush me into doing concerts, and because there's local places to do concerts and shit. But I'm like, I want to make sure I have my shit together. I'm working on my 2 albums, and I'm working on learning how to DJ. Once I work on all of this and I'm good enough within my craft, then I'm gonna start doing concerts. But I want to do the digital thing first. Build a little bit of an audience, build a little bit of a thing, like I'm working on some music, like visualizers, like before I drop the songs type shit. So I'm just working on a lot, and I want to get those done before I just start doing local shows, because I'm not really going to get paid for these local shows. And it's like the people locally already know that I exist, like it's one of those things. But what I'm saying is, if somebody said, I did a show last weekend and I did a show the weekend before that or whatever, it makes it look like they're doing something. And if and then me not dropping my album or me not whatever makes it look like I'm not doing something. But that's the thing in their head, not in mine, because I don't want what they want. I don't know what they want. Because if you want to look like you're doing something, you just want other people to see you. And it's great. We all want to be seen. I get it. But like, I make music because I love it. And like, I'm an artist. So like, when my ex broke up with me, I made a whole sad album because I was sad. Not because I wanted to make, like, it was like I was sad, so I needed a place to put my sadness. And I've always done that since I was 11 years old with music. Always. So to me, that's normal. To other people, that's not. What's normal to you is not normal to me, and what's normal to me is not normal to you. What you enjoy is not what I enjoy, and what I enjoy is not what you enjoy. Your dream job would be my nightmare job, and my dream job would be your nightmare job. Like, we just need to figure out ourselves and build our own life, It's simple.